this is Tara Reed and welcome to my sewing annex. Today I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to make your own pillowcases. These are great for beginning sewers, for teaching people how to sew, and even working with kids. I'm going to show you how to make it with this little accent fabric, which you can choose not to use, and I actually skip that step when I'm teaching people how to sew, because then it's just one less step. It's all straight cuts, straight sewing, and super easy. So here is what you need. If you're going to do the accent fabric, you need an accent fabric 2.5 inches wide. Everything is cut with the fabric. So this is the same size you would use for binding if you're a quilter. Then you need your cuff fabric cut to 9 inches wide, and then a main body fabric cut to 27 inches wide. This is folded in half. And today I'm going to be doing my demo with fabrics from my Send Me to the Woods fabric collection. Lots of fun wilderness prints brought to you by Riley Blake Designs. So now that you know what you need, let's get started and show you how easy it is to do. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our accent fabric, if you're using it, and our cuff fabric, and we're going to flip it over and we're going to iron it, just matching the edges in half with the wrong sides together. So while you're ironing, you get to see whatever beautiful print you have picked. Then we're going to repeat with the cuff fabric. Okay, so now we have pressed our cuff fabric and our accent fabric. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the cuff fabric and lay it wrong side down on your table, pretty side up. And then we're going to take the raw edge of the accent piece and we're going to line it up with the raw edge all the way along of the cuff fabric. Then you're going to take your main fabric and you're going to do it right side down and line that raw edge up as well. So you have like an accent fabric sandwich. And this is partly why I don't use the accent piece when I'm teaching people to sew, especially kids, because it's just one more thing to keep lined up. And I always want people to have super easy success so that they want to learn more and they want to keep sewing. Not that this is super hard, but one less thing. And then when they get that down, they can graduate to it and feel like they are improving. Now, I'm a huge fan of clips. They never stab me like pins, but you do you. Use what you want to use. And then you're going to clip that all along the edge. Now, once you have that all clipped, we're going to do what they call a burrito technique, a burrito fold. So you're going to take your main fabric and you're going to fold it up. Keep it a little bit far from the edge because you're going to clip over it. You're just going to fold it. Don't press it down. Don't want to have to iron a lot more later. You're going to fold it like this so you have a clear view of your clipped edge and a clear view of the other side of the cuff. Now all you're going to do is you're going to roll the cuff over. You're going to line that edge up with all the rest of them and add it to the clip. So with the accent piece, we now have 6 layers of edges that are getting lined up and clipped. And you're going to do that all along the edge. And then we're going to take that to the sewing machine. Now I have this all pinned up and it's everything rolled up on the inside and all these edges matched. I'm just going to put it on the sewing machine and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam down that pinned side. Just going to use my 1/4 inch foot and let her rip. And the beautiful thing about this is it's just straight stitching. So it's just one long straight stitch. So it's great for beginners. I did this when I was teaching my 11-year-old niece how to sew, and she was so excited to be able to make her own pillowcase. Okay, so once you get to the end, you just knot it, and then you're just going to flip this, and you're just gonna pull it right side out. Now you have all of those raw edges tucked inside here, and you're gonna take it to the ironing board, and you're gonna iron this, and make sure this is pulled nice and tight on both sides. And iron the cuff, and then iron, this doesn't really need much ironing. And then you can decide if you're gonna top stitch. I always top stitch the cuff, and I sometimes top stitch the accent piece. I don't know, I just feel like when it goes through the laundry, sometimes this gets a little bit wrinkled, and I don't mind ironing when I'm creating, but I don't like ironing pillowcases on a regular basis. So I usually stitch that down. But if I wanted something a little bit more sophisticated, maybe for an adult bedroom, I would maybe leave that. But for something like this, a wilderness pillow, I'm gonna stitch that puppy down. Now you can see I have that stitched there, and then I'm going to just run another stitch line really close to the edge along the accent piece to tack that down. Now I'm going to show you how to do a French seam. It sounds a lot scarier and more complicated than it is, but if I can do it, you can do it. It's really not hard. It's just basically sewing the uncut or the cut edges of the pillowcase twice. So first you're going to fold your pillowcase in half, wrong sides together, like that. Now before I do the sewing, I always like to take a pillowcase that I've already made, just to double check the measurement, because when we cut with the fabric, you know, sometimes cutting off the selvage cuts off more than other times. And one thing I love about pillowcases is they're very forgiving. So if you do it a little bit short, you're totally fine, because when I put this in a pillow, my pillow usually ends right around the accent piece, so I have extra. So if my new one ended up even a little bit shorter than this finished one, it would be totally fine. Also, another reason why it's great for teaching people to sew, and also great for gift giving, because it is very forgiving and you can really whip these out. So I'm just going to cut off a bit because I want this to be a little bit shorter than the one that I already made. Then I'm going to move that, and then again I'm just going to grab my clips and I'm going to clip all the way around. Now, you also want to make sure you have a nice clean edge. So see how I have some little fraying stuff there? I want to cut that off. It's easier to cut off now, because otherwise you're just going to be trimming once you're done, because it's going to stick out of the seam a little bit, which is totally fine. You can fix it later or you can fix it now. Up to you. So we're going to pin this together, and then we're going to go back to the sewing machine. We're just going to sew down the two cut edges, the long side and the bottom, with an 1/8 inch seam, nice and close to the edge. And this is the first stitching for your French seam. So now I've sewn those two edges real close, 1/8 inch seam. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take this back to the ironing board. We're going to turn it inside out and press. Now we're going to sew at a 1/4 inch or maybe even a teeny bit more if you feel like you're not totally encapsulating that last seam that you did, because we want all those raw edges caught on the inside. You want to make sure your corner gets caught too. So I'm going to do that, and this is our last step. Very exciting. I usually do a little bit bigger. The pillow doesn't know that the seam's a little bit bigger, but then I'm sure to catch that seam in there. All right, that's all there is to it. I've made a pillowcase. Look how great it looks on the pillow. Super awesome. So if you make these, I would love to see what you create, whether it's with my fabric or any other fabric. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. And if you make them, I hope you tag me on social media. I'm at Artist Tara Reed on Instagram and Pinterest, and you can find me at Tara Reed Designs on Facebook. Have a great day and happy sewing.